And to think, it all starts with a flush.
Did you know that nearly every deuce dropped in the DMV is being converted into crystal clear water along with planet-saving energy?
One of these is our effluent. A mere 24 hours ago, it was raw sewage, and one of them is tap water.
Can't tell the difference.
That's the point.
Last week, I took you guys on an Earth Month tour of Blue Plains, the DC water treatment plant that's producing state-of-the-art fertilizer called Bloom. But it turns out Bloom is just one of the byproducts of their wastewater recycling process here, which is nothing short of a modern science miracle. Fair warning to those of you who are slightly squeamish, it's about to get sludgy.
We'll start with the worst.
To turn the DMV's brown into green, Director of Resource Recovery Chris Piot says it all begins right here, where massive pipes carry wastewater into the plant. Stepping foot into this particular wing is rough. The smell is overwhelming, even for 25-year employees like Chris.
I even noticed.
Here, machines sift through raw sewage water that comes in, taking out all the clumps of debris and God knows what that would mess up their filtration equipment. Unnecessary step for me to document, but I'll never be returning.
That's delicious looking.
After screening, Chris told me the water comes to these massive circular tanks that slow the flow down. Fat, oils, and grease, or fog, float to the top. Your solids sink to the bottom, and the remaining water flows over to the next phase. For perspective, there are 36 of these massive pools at Blue Plains, processing 320 million gallons a day.
That's roughly enough to fill up RFK Stadium to the rim every day with raw sewage. Used to be able to make football joke here, but you can't anymore because they're good.
The next step is where things get kind of mind-blowing.
So this is a whole microbial process. It's very complex. It's energy intensive.
The plant is able to filter out elements like nitrogen and phosphorus from the water. I could do a whole documentary on just this step, but all you need to know is that afterwards, the water is disinfected and treated even further until it looks like nothing even happened. Chris took me to a testing station where we compared the samples you saw in the beginning of the story. The water finally ends up here in these holding ponds before being released back into the Potomac River. There are schools of fish thriving in these ponds. That's how clean it is.
And then we send clean water out into the river, way cleaner than the water that is taken out upstream to make drinking water for DC.
After all the liquid is treated, they still have to do something with the solids. That's where this phase of the process comes in.
You may have forgotten about the poop. Yeah, I'm all out of puns. That was separated back out in step 2. Sadly, I didn't. The solid waste goes into these massive containers called digesters, and I promise that's not a play on words. Chris says a unique process called thermal hydrolysis occurs here, where they convert solid waste into gas by using heat and pressure to kill germs and extract carbon. The carbon generates around a third of the power this plant runs on, creating a closed-loop system.
We clean up the gas. We burn it in turbines to make electricity, and then we recover the heat off the turbines to make steam to heat this back up. Incredibly energy efficient.
And that's how we finally end up with 3 products: recycled water, natural carbon energy, and fertilizer, all made with contributions from DC's bricklaying public. Okay, I still had one more shit-talking pun in me.
I have 3 kids, and I want there to be a planet for them to enjoy and for their kids to enjoy.
Chris says at the end of the day, what they're essentially doing through science is accelerating nature, recycling waste at a faster pace than Mother Earth out of necessity. They're also generating some pretty sweet extra byproducts in the process. So next time duty calls, for those of you in the DMV and even parts of Virginia and Maryland, know that you're a player in the greatest recycling story never told until now. In the district, Matt Kaufax, WTOP News.
For more stories like this, download and listen to WTOP Radio on our app or tune in to 103.5 FM.